Hey everyone, me Kevin here with your late night show for the next rounds of stimulus and stimulus checks. This morning I mentioned to you that I was less pissed, and I told you how to know if you have COVID 1 week before you even get tested. Well, now I'm back to you with even more updates, and well, I'm getting a little upset again. And just be sure to stay to the end, because I've also figured out where Congress is. But first, reports are in from reporter Charlie Gasparino that Steve Mnuchin and Larry Kudlow are waging a civil war, a battle within the White House over the next stimulus package. The battle puts Steve Mnuchin against Larry Kudlow. Steve Mnuchin wants extended unemployment with the $600 boost to be extended, but wants to scale that boost back over time. Larry Kudlow, on the other hand, doesn't want that. What a surprise. Grumpy Larry said no. I'm honestly starting to wonder if Larry Kudlow is the guy the Impractical Jokers are looking for. If you haven't seen that yet, make sure to YouTube Larry and the Impractical Jokers. Larry Kudlow wants a big fat payroll tax cut in contrast with Steve Mnuchin, who wants the unemployment boost. Larry Kudlow's supporters also include some of the people in the Senate who are generally considered the conservative type of Republican. The conservative type of Republican generally wants lower taxes and less spending. Mnuchin, on the other hand, is seen as a Wall Street Republican, along with Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. Now, it's unclear who's going to win this battle, but right now it looks like Steve Mnuchin, who's the head of the Treasury, and that Wall Street Republican who sees stimulus checks as good for the economy and good for an election, he appears to be in the lead, at least according to Charlie. But I can't help but just be frustrated by hearing that there are now divisions within the Republican Party. I honestly thought this country had enough divisiveness. At a time when Melania Trump's statue in Slovenia got roasted worse than Charlie Sheen's comedy special where he got roasted, you'd think that the last thing that could happen is more divisions within the Republican Party itself. Heck, even Chuck Woolery had a U-turn. I quoted him 2 days ago as saying that he doesn't believe that COVID is a lie, he just questions the information we're given. Back then, he did also, though, say that, quote, everyone is lying when talking about COVID. However, he just stated that COVID-19 is real and that it is here. His son has tested positive for the virus, and he said that he feels for those who are suffering, especially those who have lost loved ones. That was right before his account disappeared from Twitter altogether. Now, obviously, I hope for the quick and speedy recovery for his son and anybody else infected, but honestly, maybe in a world like this, it's no wonder that we now have hacking organizations that are named by the type of bear they are. That's right, this morning I broke the news to you that a hacking group from Russia tried stealing our COVID-19 research. We know the group is called Cozy Bear. Cozy Bear, by the way, is the same hacking group that hacked into the Democratic National Convention in 2016, right before the election. And in 2016, they partnered with the hacking group Fancy Bear. Well, I think it's time we have some new bears that we start talking about. We have Nancy Bear, who fights a lot with Mitch Bear, but both of them end up getting beat by COVID Bear because COVID Bear doesn't take time off to go on recess. Speaking of Nancy Pelosi, reporters are now indicating that they don't see Nancy Pelosi as allowing a payroll tax cut, as it would give Donald Trump too much of a pre-election victory. At the same time, Representative John Yarmouth this morning said that 65,000 cases of COVID per day is like 24 million cases per year if we don't get this under control. He also gave us a little bit of a hint on the stimulus package and said that he guesses the next stimulus package will be closer to $3 trillion than $1 trillion. He says the next package should be very generous, mostly because lawmakers don't want to have to do another one. However, this package probably will not pass until the first week of August. It's honestly shocking how hard it is for our government to support the people in a time like a pandemic. I honestly feel like making a Stephen Gardner-style letter video to Congress to remind them of the people who elected them. At least Stephen Mnuchin is in the lead with his push for unemployment pay and stimulus checks. But honestly, at this point, it somewhat feels like we're watching a disabled horse race where each horse is on a ventilator and attached to a hospital bed, also on an IV with adrenaline being pumped by the Federal Reserve at the same time as fighting COVID with a severe case of COVID hooves. Every day we check in to see which horse is winning in this race. We find that the horses are just as disorientated as they were yesterday, but it looks like a certain horse is in the lead today, but only by a nose, and it might all change tomorrow. By the way, if you appreciate this new style of video, could I ask you to like the video? The YouTube algorithm appears to like that. So I hope you could like my video so we could get some more love from the algorithm. Anyway, Nancy Pelosi vowed to get a stimulus package passed prior to going on the August recess. She also indicated that direct negotiations between Republicans and Democrats have not yet started, though they're also indirectly negotiating their signals, apparently, quote, through the media. You know, that sounds like a really inefficient way to negotiate. Whatever happened to like just texting Mitch, or maybe pick up the phone and just call Mitch. You know, I don't know, even get the rotary dial out if you need to, just call him up. You know, because sending signals through the media is honestly kind of like what I do when Lauren's cooking. She's cooking lunch and I walk over to the kitchen and I just look at her with big eyes until she turns and says, "Need something?" That way, when she asks me, I could say, "Hey, you asked, and not me." But hey, at least I got our family life insurance in as little as 5 minutes via the link down below, and I also got us 2 free stocks with Weevil by depositing just $100. Deposit $100 and get 2 completely free stocks. Links down below. Nancy Pelosi also reported that she was open to negotiations on the $600 per week boost, saying that the $600 boost will depend on, quote, potential direct payments to individuals. In other words, we might see Nancy Pelosi soften her stance that was passed in the HEROES Act on a $600 boost through January if we get either the full or maybe even a larger or maybe second or third stimulus check. But of course, given that this is a crippled horse race, we have absolutely no idea what she really means by that. So I just made a speculative conclusion, and I want you to be aware of that. Pelosi also mentioned that she was open to some sort of liability protections for businesses via the form of new regulations by OSHA. So it looks like she is open to some kind of balance, and Mitch McConnell wants to see kids physically go back to school so that parents can return to work. Mitch does admit, though, that this might take a, quote, substantial federal investment. And this is so true. Lauren is losing her mind over the thought of having to homeschool because the reality is it means both of us are going to have to cut time out of work. And I'm also not exactly sure how I'm going to post 3 detailed videos per day for you if I'm going to need to homeschool. Mitch McConnell did admit, though, it looks like some kind of rotation for schools might be necessary. Nancy Pelosi seemed to be in alignment on this. Further, we have more reports now that universities and the Economic Policy Institute have argued the $600 boost is not a substantial disincentive to go back to work and instead is, quote, the best part of the government stimulus response. And the fact of the matter is that about 4 people are unemployed in our country for every single job that is available. That means every job that's available, you have 4 people eligible to take that job. But you know, you wouldn't know those facts if you listened to Steve Forbes, who's the editor-in-chief of Forbes magazine, and literally just wrote an article in his own platform without any citations saying, quote, the $600 a week boost provision should not be renewed in any form when it expires at the end of the month. Otherwise, labor market experts warn the economy will be seriously hurt. It'd be nice to know who these labor experts are or where they even had a discussion, but those citations aren't in the editor-in-chief's article. Though he did suggest that a larger stimulus check was a good idea, so that is positive. Jim Cramer from CNBC's Mad Money alluded to being at a cliff. He said, quote, we botched the reopening and now states are being forced to shut down again. He said that the $600 a week in jobless benefits disappears right as a huge chunk of the country closes for business. Well, folks, now it's time to reveal where Congress is. It turns out there's a hot new social media app that's exclusive and invite only. Only 3,500 people have made it into the app, and the app has now an over $100 million valuation. We've got people like Mark Cuban, Oprah Winfrey, MC Hammer, and, well, you guessed it, even a congressman. If you're lucky enough to get an invite, you might be able to chat with some A-list celebrities in the app. Of course, just when you think you're getting somewhere, you'll be interrupted by a social distancing reminder in the voice of MC Hammer. Can't touch this. Pandemic. But at least Oprah's in there as well with Congress. You've got Congressman Ted Lieu in there. And we all know what happens when you get Oprah in the same place as, well, other people. you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. And that's just what Congress needs. More time off and more free stuff for themselves. Well, thanks everybody so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this content, hit that like button. Check out the courses and links down below so I can teach you how to build your wealth by investing in real estate, or learn the basics of investing in stocks and learning the psychology of making money. Thank you so much for watching. Check out the coupon code down below. And folks, we will see you next time.